Life before 1873 when Buda and Pest were united, life during the Habsburg monarchy when Austrian noblemen ruled over Hungarians, and after the compromise creating the Austro-Hungarian Empire with some power equilibrium. Much of the exhibits were lost in WW2, but you will still see many interesting items on display to feel the splendor of the castle. The Hungarian National Museum was founded in 1802 and is the national museum for the history, art, and archaeology of Hungary, including areas not within Hungary's modern borders, such as Transylvania. It is not to be confused with the collection of international art in the Hungarian National Gallery. The museum is in Budapest 8 in a neoclassical building, purpose-built during 1837–47 by the architect Mihaly Pollack. The collection of the Budapest History Museum is made up of three major parts: architectural findings, object materials from the city history and work of art. A visit through the exhibition is a virtual time journey, which gives you the opportunity to have a look at relics of the past ranging from architectural findings that are more than 40,000 years old to posters from the 20th century. After a walk across the collection, you will know everything about the history of Budapest from Roman ages until the present day. The items on display vary from photos, furniture, everyday tools, clothes, books, graphics, and more, but one thing is common is that they all somehow reflect life in Buda and Pest, aka Budapest, throughout the various ages and styles. If you like history, and like Budapest too, the Budapest History Museum, Budapest Történeti Museum, is an ideal place to visit in the Buda Castle on the Castle Hill. Some of the fine displays from the Middle Ages are the coats of arms of medieval ruling and aristocratic families on carved stones and stove tiles. Detailed information of each period of the Buda Castle is provided on touch-screen displays. You can learn about the various ruling families of the Buda Palace, including portraits, seals, coins, coats of arms in pictures and through interesting anecdotes and legends. Visitors can see the fine books of the royal libraries, like Matthias Corvinus Library from the Renaissance period, the medieval latrine, the accommodation of the castle guards or a stone carving workshop, and artistically painted constellations. The Hungarian National Museum traces its foundation to 1802, when Count Ferenc Székely set up the National Székely Library. This would then be followed a year later by the donating of a mineral collection by Székely's wife. This led to the creation of the Hungarian National Museum as a general history and natural history museum, beyond being simply a library. In 1807, the Hungarian National Parliament passed legislation on the new institution and asked the nation to help donate to the museum. The Hungarian Parliament of 1832 to 1834 helped with the growth of the museum as well. The Parliament voted in favor of giving $500,000 to help with the construction of a new building for the museum. During this time the Hungarian National History Museum was officially set up under the Hungarian National Museum. Later, in 1846, the museum moved to its current location of 8. Museum KRT 14-16, where the museum resides in a neoclassical style building designed by Mihaly Pollack. In 1848, the Hungarian National Museum played a major role in the Hungarian Revolution. The revolution was partially spurred by the reading of Sándor Petőfi's 12 Points and the famous poem Nemzeti Dal on the front steps of the museum. This helped make the museum a major site of national importance and identity for Hungary. In remembrance of the revolution, 2 statues were added to the museum. The first is a statue of János Arany, unveiled in 1883. In 1890, there was a statue next to the stairs of the museum of a memorial tablet to Sándor Petőfi. Additionally, during this time, the upper house of the parliament held its sessions in the ceremonial of the museum. This continued until the new House of Parliament was built. Today, festivities held in remembrance of the National Commemorations Day of 1848 are held in front of the museum. In 1949, an act split the ethnographic and natural history part of the Hungarian National Museum off of the main museum. They now comprise the Hungarian Natural History Museum and Ethnographic Museum. This also helped with the setting up of the modern-day National Székely Library. All of these separate museums are still interconnected, and other museums and monuments have become affiliated with them over time. The most recent addition was the Castle Museum in Esztergom, which joined in 1985. Sections: The archaeology from prehistory to the Avar period ending in 804 AD on the first, ground, floor, on the east-west frontier, and the history from 804 to modern times on the first floor. This display covers topics such as the age of the Arpads, the long Turkish occupation, Transylvania, and Royal Hungary. More modern and contemporary history covered begins with the Rákóczi War of Independence, showing different sections of his military attire and various coins. The history section then ends with the rise and fall of the communist system in Hungary. In another hall on the second floor one can find out about the scholar Hungarians who made the 20th century. A room on the first floor displays the medieval Hungarian coronation mantle. The ground floor's permanent exhibit is focused on medieval and early modern stone inscriptions and carvings. This exhibit looks at various stone relics and the carvings that have been made into them. The majority of the items in this collection were discovered during the 1960s and 1970s, since they looked for more relics post-World War II. The final permanent exhibit is placed in the basement of the museum. This is the Roman Lapidary exhibit, which is a collection of ancient Roman stone inscriptions and carvings. The building where the Hungarian National Museum is currently located was built from 1837 to 1847. The style of the main building was laid out in a neoclassical style and was added onto by other artists in the form of statues, paintings, and other architecture. The statues of the portico were done by Raphael Monti of Milan. One of these is a famous statue of the allegoric figure of Hungary, holding a shield with the Hungarian coat of arms on it. On the sides of this figure there is science on one and art on the other. In addition, the paintings that have been in the staircase and on the ceiling since 1875 were done by Károly Lotz and more than. There has also been a garden that is used primarily for various concerts. Various artists have performed here including Ferenc Liszt. Today the garden is the venue of the museum festival. Scenes from the movie Evita, starring Madonna, were filmed on the steps leading in. The scenes depicted the coffin of Eva Peron being carried into a Buenos Aires government building to lay in state.